Country music fans love Tim McGraw and Faith Hill together, and they always will. Fans all over the world have been moved by their love story, from the time they were the most famous country pair in the 1990s and 2000s to the present day. However, a sad turn has now made everything different. Tim is making the hard choice to leave Faith because she has been given a terrible illness. Spotlight to help his wife. Fans are crushed as he gets ready for this sad goodbye. If you want to see how strong their love is as they face this unimaginable task together, read on. Before they became famous in country music in the late 1990s and early 2000s, Faith Hill and Tim McGraw were two singers who wanted to make it in the business. Let us look at their pasts. Early life of Tim McGraw. Samuel Timothy McGraw, better known as Tim McGraw, was born in Delhi, Louisiana. He was the only child of Jacksonville waitress Elizabeth Betty Ann D'Agostino, Florida, and Frank Edwin Tug McGraw Jr., a pitcher who became famous with the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. Betty, who was in high school in Jacksonville, lived in the same apartment building as Tug McGraw, who played basketball for the Jacksonville Suns. This is where his parents' story started. During her teenage years, Betty got pregnant with Tim. Her family sent her to Louisiana to live with them, loved ones. As a child, McGraw thought that his stepfather, Horace Smith, who went by the last name Smith, was his real father. When McGraw was 11, he was looking through his mom's closet for a picture for a school project and found his birth certificate. That's when he found out the truth about his real father. His mother set him up with Tug McGraw for the first time after he made the finding. For 7 years, Tug denied being Tim's father. But when Tim turned 18, they made up and became close again. They stayed close until Tug died in 2004. McGraw was very interested in sports, especially baseball, even before he learned about his father's baseball career. As a child, he played a lot, and in high school, he joined the FFFA school. After high school, he went to Northeast Louisiana University on a baseball scholarship with the main goal of becoming a lawyer. Unfortunately, he hurt his knee in college and couldn't play professional sports again. But this turn of events led him to music, which would change his life in ways he didn't expect. When McGraw was in college, he picked up a guitar and started playing for money. He later joked that his friends would hide his guitar because he was so bad at playing it at first. In 1987, McGraw moved back to Jacksonville, Florida, with his mother. He then went to school there. There is a Florida community college in Jacksonville. He played in neighborhood bands and got better over time. On the day that Keith Whitley died in 1989, McGraw did something that would change the course of his life. He quit college and moved to Nashville to try to make it as a country music singer. This important moment would help McGraw become one of the most famous and loved country music artists. Tim's music career began when Curb Records heard him in 1990. After making a test single, he gave his dad, Tug McGraw, a copy. While Tug was riding with a friend who knew people at Curb Records, that friend heard the tape and suggested that Curb get in touch with the young singer. After a few weeks, McGraw was able to play the label's executives his tape, and they quickly offer him a recording deal. His first song was the single What Room Was the Holiday, in which came out on March 29, 1991. The song made an impact, but it didn't make the Billboard Hot Country Songs list. Years later, in a look back, the program director for Nashville's WSM-FM said they added the song to the station's playlist because it had undeniable promise. Another program director at WXTU in Philadelphia said that McGraw's first single wasn't very good, but he still called the young artist to the station because of how well known his father is. McGraw put out his first record, Tim McGraw, in April 1993. The record didn't do well at the stores. It was the artist's only studio record in his career that didn't get any awards or make it to the top country albums list. That first record had 3 singles, Welcome to the Club, Memory Lane, and Two Step in Mind. However, none of them made it to the top 40 on the country charts, and the album didn't do well either. Joe Diffie co-wrote both Memory Lane and Tears in the Rain. Memory Lane was first played on Keith Palmer's 1991 first record. McGraw's second record, Not a Moment Too Soon, changed everything. It became the best-selling country album of 1994 and went through a huge popularity spike. Some radio stations wouldn't play the band's first song, Indian Outlaw, because they thought it was stereotyping Native Americans. In a strange way, this made people more interested in the song, which became McGraw's first hit. Top 10 hit in the U.S. It peaked at number 8 on the country charts. It also made it to number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100. Don't Take the Girl, the album's second song, became a big deal when it went to number 1 on the U.S. It went up to number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the country lists. This song helped make McGraw known as an artist who was tough but also sensitive. After that, Down on the Farm made number 2, and the title track of the album became his second number 1 hit in early 1995. Refried Dreams, the last song, reached number 5 on the charts. Not a Moment Too Soon was the number 1 album on both the Billboard 200 and the top country album lists, selling more than 6 million copies. Because of how well the record did, McGraw won the Record of the Year and Top New Male Vocalist awards from the Academy of Country Music in 1994, and Billboard called it the best country album of that year. This record made McGraw famous in country music, taking him from a newcomer to a big name in the genre. At the same time, this is what Faith Hill was doing. The early life of Faith Hill. Audrey Faith Perry, better known as Faith Hill, was born in Ridgeland, Mississippi, not far from Jackson. Edna and Ted Perry raised her and their 2 biological boys in a small town called Star, which is about 20 miles southeast of Jackson. They adopted her when she was a baby. Having grown up in a Hill grew up in a very Christian home, and his love of music was clear from a young age. In public for the first time when she was 3 years old, at Star Baptist Church. By the time she was 7, she was singing at a 4-H luncheon and other events. In 1976, Hill went to see Elvis Presley at the Jackson State Fair Coliseum, just before she turned 9 years old. She will never forget that moment because it made her want to be on stage even more. As a teen, she joined the Steele Family, a gospel group that played at many churches in the area. She started her own band when she was 17 and played at rodeos and other small events in her area. Hill graduated from McLaurin Attendance Center in 1986. He briefly went to Hines Junior College but soon left too. She should follow her dream of becoming a country singer. Hill made the big choice to quit college and move to Nashville when he was 19. It wasn't easy for her in the beginning in Nashville. She even tried out to be a backup singer for Reba McEntire, but didn't get the job. On a sad note, the singer hired to replace her died in a plane crash in 1991, along with 6 other members of Reba's band. It had a big effect on the music world. During this time, Hill worked a number of different jobs to support herself. One of these was at McDonald's, where she later said she hated her job. She sold T-shirts and worked as a secretary at a music publishing business. Someone at work heard her singing during her break. Her boss was impressed and told her to try demo singing. This made Hill singing background vocals for singer Gary Burr at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, which is known for introducing new artists to the world. While one act was going on, Martha Sharp, a Warner Bros. Records, who happened to be there. Sharp was drawn to Hill's voice and started to sign her to a recording. Agree to. Hill married Daniel Hill, a music publisher, in 1988, but the marriage didn't last. In 1994, not long after her first record came out, they got a divorce. This time was a turning point for Hill. She was finally recognized for her skills. Faith Hill's journey from poor beginnings in Mississippi to following her dream in Nashville was fueled by strength, ability, and a steady will. That made her one of the biggest stars in country music in the end. Pick up Faith Hill's first record, Take Maine As I Am, in 1993. It made a big splash in the country music world right away. The song Wild One, which made it to the top of the Billboard charts, caused sales to go through the roof. In 1994, Hill held the #1 spot on Billboard for 4 weeks in a row, making her the first female country artist in 30 years to do so. This is an amazing feat for a newbie. Hill became a growing star when her cover of Piece of My Heart also went to #1 on the country charts that same year. With strong sales and more fans, Take Maine As I Am sold more than 3 million books. Along with the title track of the record, singles like Take Maine As I Am showed off Hill's strong vocals and unmistakable stage presence. And this music success would lead Faith to her future husband, the Lovebirds meet. In 1996, 2 years after the big success of her first record, Hill joined McGraw's as the opening act for the Spontaneous Combustion Tour. Both were at important points in their lives because they had just broken up with someone. Not long after meeting, they knew they had a strong bond. When McGraw later thought back on their quick love story on the road, he said, "We were young, silly, and completely in love during the trip. They became closer, and by October of that year they were married." Got married. McGraw remembers the way he asked her to marry him with great affection. He told the crowd this story on their 19th wedding anniversary. He says she asked him to marry her backstage on June 26, 1996, after they had been on tour together for a while. In a trailer on the festival grounds on a rainy day, McGraw joked about getting married. But when he realized how serious he felt, he took her hand and knelt down. She bowed deeply and asked, "Will you marry me?" Hill's first reaction was to laugh. "You want to get married while we're in a trailer at a country music festival?" She made a joke. McGraw didn't give up and went on stage to perform, leaving the question unanswered. After his set, he went back to his dressing room and found her answer. She wrote in Sharpie and lipstick on his cabinet mirror, "Yes, I'm going to. I want to be your wife," with lipstick kisses all over it. That one move sealed the deal and led to the start of one of country music's most beloved pairs. A surprise wedding. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw were one of the first famous people to get married without anyone knowing. People close to the couple were invited. McGraw's hometown of Rayville, Louisiana, was the site of what everyone thought would be a casual get-together with a softball game and a show. Everyone was shocked when the event turned. They went into a small wedding under a big oak tree, where they stood with a preacher getting ready to say their vows. Hill wore a simple, slinky white dress and went barefoot to add her own laid-back style. She looked beautiful and was 3 months pregnant. Adding to her look were a classic pair of gloves from the 1990s and a single string of pearls that captures a casual beauty. To stay true to his simple style, McGraw chose jeans and a black coat. Their personalities came through in the simple and sweet ceremony, which marked the start of a lifelong partnership in love and singing. After getting married, Tim McGraw and Faith Hill were happy to have 3 strong girls, named Gracie, Maggie, and Audrey. With Audrey out of the house, they will be empty nesters in 2020. The couple has been married since 1996 and has been through many ups and downs. Their strong bond has always interested people. So what makes their marriage work and stay strong? McGraw says that they have promised to work together to solve problems. It was recently that he said, "When we got married and had kids, we promised that we wouldn't just leave when things got hard in the early stages of their." Because McGraw was an alcoholic, it was hard for him to take care of his family, work, and his relationship with Hill. He says that faith was the thing that kept him grounded and motivated him to change his life. In an honest podcast conversation, he said, "Had I not married Faith at 29, I might have run my job down or make it worse." Her unflinching support helped him put his health and happiness first, which was a turning point in his path to sobriety. Hill and McGraw continued to build their lives together while touring as a duo several times. This shared experience held McGraw responsible even while he was busy on the road. Their shared determination to get through their marriage seems to be based on being there for each other through hard times and having a lot of love for each other. There may not be a single secret to their long-term happiness, but it's clear that respect for each other and a dedication to family have been the most important things in their relationship. Cheers to many more years. For a couple that is loved in country music. But it looks like things might not be okay. There are new worries about Faith Hill's health. Fans are afraid that she might be having neck problems again, which is something that people have been worried about since the 1990s. Back then, Hill had to put off making her second album because she had to have surgery to fix a broken blood vessel in her vocal cords. Later in 2015, she got more attention for her health when she walked the Oscars red carpet with a short haircut that matched her husband Tim McGraw's style. For some, though, it wasn't her hairdo that stood out, it was the scar on her neck. At the time, it was said that Hill had surgery in January 2015 to fix damage from an earlier accident. The process is known as an anterior cervical discectomy, and union can help ease the pain of a bulging disc in the neck. Even though it looked like she had fully recovered, stories have been going around for years, and new ones have made people wonder if Hill is again having neck problems. But Hill and her team haven't spoke out against the reports, leaving fans to guess. But there are real risks when you guess about someone's health. When people spread rumors, especially ones that haven't been confirmed, it can cause confusion and worry among friends and family. It can also make someone feel like you are prying into their private struggles, especially if they are dealing with a condition in secret. The tough fight Chadwick Boseman fought with cancer is a strong reminder of this. He kept his illness a secret while he was sick, and the public only found out about his condition after he died. The stress he was under was made worse by rumors about how he looked before he died. It's important to keep personal boundaries and wait for official comments if they come, instead of spreading rumors. Hill may be able to heal faster if she deals with her health problems in private, just like anyone else, giving her room to deal with any problems at her own pace by respecting her privacy, without stories adding to the stress. Faith's amazing work history. The one thing that Faith Hill's work has shown us is that she is very strong. After her album It Matters to Me did well, Hill took a 3-year break from producing, which she needed. She had been traveling hard for 4 years and wanted to take some time to focus on her growing family with Tim McGraw. But Hill and McGraw figured out a way for them to make music together. It's Your Love, their first duet, was a big hit right away and stayed at the top of the charts for 6 weeks. The Academy of Country Music and the Country Music Association both gave them awards for the song. It was their first big success as a pair. Hill has said that when she sings It's Your Love on stage with McGraw, It often feels so close that the outside world fades away, leaving them alone in the moment. This deep connection has not only moved people, but it also shows how much she cares about her family and her work. Faith's skill at taking time to rest and recharge while still putting on strong performances is part of what makes her a fighter. She manages her personal life and the demands of her demanding job. It was Faith Hill's big break into pop music when she came back to the music scene in 1998 with her third album, Faith. It marked a shift toward a more pop-oriented style while still having a strong country influence. This record. She reached a whole new level with this Kiss, which not only topped the country charts but also made it to number 7 on the pop lists. The record sold more than 6 million copies because fans loved it so much. Faith had a lot of hits on her album besides this Kiss, like her duet with Tim McGraw. Just to hear you say that you love Maine and hit songs like The Secret of Life and Let Me Let Go. Building on this success, Hill released Breathe in November 1999. It went straight to number 1 on both the country and all genre Billboard charts, beating out records by big names like Mariah Carey and Savage Garden. Breathe had a polished sound that made Hill's singing range stand out, and started focusing only on love songs. Breathe, the album's title track, was a huge hit that got to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. The Way You Love Maine also made it to number 6. Hill won 3 Grammys for this record, including Best Country Record and Best Country Female Vocal Performance, and around 10 million copies were sold around the world. Hill's image also changed with Breathe. In her music videos and other promotional materials, she wore clothes that were sexy and more grown up. Hill had a very busy year in 2000. She was on a successful tour with McGraw on several TV shows, such as Behind the Music on VH1, Divas 2000 on VH1, and Intimate on Lifetime. Picture. Performing at the Grammy Awards, the Academy Awards, and Super Bowl XXXIV, where she sang the national anthem, helped Hill's fame continue to grow. That same year, she got a deal with CoverGirl to be an ambassador, was on many magazine covers, and even made Mr. Blackwell's list of the best-dressed celebrities, where she was the only singer among actresses and other famous people. They also started their first Soul to Soul tour, which took their music and their relationship to people all over the country. Where Are You Christmas was sang by Faith Hill in 2000 for the movie How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. The song was written by James Horner, Will Jennings, and Mariah Carey. The song did well on both the pop and country charts, but her success in both genres caused some. There is trouble in the country music scene. Some people in the know thought Hill was moving away from her country roots and toward a more pop sound. Even though she got bad press, Hill's dedication to her roots showed when she won the CMA Female Vocalist of the Year award. She talked about the worries in her award speech, where she talked about how much she loves the country music business. Hill recorded There You'll Be for the Pearl Harbor soundtrack the next year. The song had been offered to Celine Dion first. The song became one of Hill's most famous, and its popularity led to the release of a record called There You'll Be, the best of Faith Hill for people all over the world. The record included dance mixes of her hit songs like Breathe and The Way You Love Maine, as well as different versions of songs like Piece of My Heart. Hill was up for a Grammy Award for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance and an Academy Award for Best Original Song for There You'll Be. Hill did something brave with her 5th studio record, Cry, which came out in 2002. With only a few subtle nods to her country roots, this record showed off her powerful vocals and made her a pop star. Cry debuted at the top of both the pop and country album charts, but its songs didn't get much airplay on country radio. Instead, They were played more on adult contemporary and international stations. The record was a big hit. It won a Grammy and sold over 3 million copies. 7 million copies around the world. That song, Baby You Belong, was used as the theme song for Disney's Lilo Stitch. Scenes from the cartoon movie are mixed in with performance clips in this music video. Another song, When the Lights Go Down, was used to promote an NBC TV special that showed fans how Cry was made behind the scenes and included quiet performances of Hill's biggest hits. Return to country music. Faith Hill made a strong return to her country roots with her 2005 album Fireflies, which went straight to the top of both the country and all-genre album charts when it came out. This made her one of only a few acts whose first 3 albums all started at the top of both charts. Hill's first song, Mississippi Girl, was her biggest hit and told the story of her journey and her roots in Mississippi. John Rich of the band Big Rich and Adam Schoenfield of the band Music Mafia. Rich wrote the song just for her. Hill also recorded 2 other songs that Rich wrote that were hits: Sunshine and Summertime, and Like We Never Loved It All. Firefly's title track, Stealing Kisses, and If You Ask were all written by Lori McKenna. Hill and McKenna played them on the Oprah Winfrey Show. After not going on tour for 6 years, in 2006, Hill and her husband Tim McGraw started the Soul 2 tour so that she could spend more time with her kids. It was a huge hit, making $90 million and setting a record as the most successful country music tour ever. Statista named it Major Tour of the Year, beating out big names like bands and artists like Madonna and the Rolling Stones. After this success, Hill put out her first collection of her best hits in the United States in 2007. It was called The Hits. This record had 13 of her biggest hits from her career from 1993 to 2005, plus 2 new songs called Lost and Red Umbrella. The unique version came with a DVD of Hill's song videos. Hill also sang 2 duets with McGraw on his 2007 record Let It Go. The songs are called I Need You and Shotgun Rider during their Soul 2 tour, which ran until 2007. Both songs became fan favorites. Nominations were made for Best Duet for I Need You. At the 2008 Grammy Awards, it won Best Country Collaboration with Vocals and Best Country Song. When Pink quit, Hill took over as the voice of NBC's Sunday Night Football in 2007. Hill's voice gave the weekly football start a little extra edge, and she did it until 2013, her being an American. When her first Christmas record, Joy to the World, came out in 2008, it made her even more famous. The record got great reviews, and one of the original songs, A Baby Changes Everything, went to the top of the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart. Hill's best performance yet was when she sang America the Beautiful at the 2009 Super Bowl 43 opening show. After this, she did well known. In honor of Paul McCartney, she sang The Winner Takes It All by ABBA at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and The Long and Winding Road by the Beatles at the White House, where President Obama was also present. In 2010, Hill added Give In to Me to the soundtrack of the movie Country Strong, which starred Tim McGraw. She also sang a song in honor of Loretta Lynn on Cole. Love is the Foundation is a song from Miner's Daughter, a tribute to Loretta Lynn. Later that same year, her voice was heard in the ads and end credits for the movie Life as We Know It in the song All I Ever Wanted, which was written by Ryan Tedder. Through the 1990s and into the 2000s, Faith Hill's singing career continued to grow and change, showing how versatile she is. Dedication to what she does. From 2010 to 2011, she worked in the studio on her next record. She worked with Bruce Springsteen and Pearl Jam producer Brendan O'Brien and hit producer Brian Kennedy. Even though she taped a lot of songs, she wanted this album to really show where she was in her life, so authenticity and realness were very important to her. Priorities. In November 2011, Hill gave fans a sneak peek at the possible record by performing a cover of Honor Republic's song, Come Home, at the CMA Awards. She played Illusion and Overrated at the CMA Music Festival in 2012, giving hints that the record was finished but not saying much about it. Let Go. Later that year, she released a second song called American Heart, along with a music video. Fans were waiting for the full album, but it never came out. Hill and Tim McGraw also started their Soul to Soul to Soul tour in Australia in 2012 around this time. After this success, they got a residency at the Venetian in Las Vegas and began giving only shows there in December 2012. Until April 2014. People liked the show, which once again showed how well the power couple worked together on stage and how much they both loved acting. Hill worked with Little Big Town on a song in 2015. She wowed the crowds with her performance of Girl Crush at the Billboard Music Awards, proving her link to modern country music. A year later, she was one of 30 acts chosen to record Forever Country, a mashup track honoring 50 years of the CMA Awards that included well-known songs like I Will Always Love You and Take Me Home. Country Roads. In 2016, Hill and McGraw announced yet another tour together. It was called Soul to Soul the World Tour 2017, and it started in New Orleans and went all the way to Europe in 2018 as part of the C2C Country to Country to Country event. About the same, Hill put out Deep Tracks, a collection of her favorite songs from past records, some of which had not been released before. This record, which is her last with Warner Bros. Records, gave Hill's fans a better look at his range and depth. Hill and McGraw signed a new deal in February 2017, a deal with Sony Music Nashville, which made it possible for him to work on projects with other people and on his own. Soon after, they put out the lead song from their joint album, The Rest of Our Life, in November 2017, Speak to a Girl. To remember their work, the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum opened a display called Mississippi Woman, Louisiana Man, to show how Hill and McGraw have affected country music. Hill has proven herself to be a versatile artist over the years as her music has changed and she has reached important personal goals. She shows her Mississippi roots, her love of country music, and her ability to connect with people of all musical styles in every project, solidifying her position as a permanent icon in the business world. Okay then. That's all there is to this movie. Check out some of our other videos if you want to see more great videos like this one. Goodbye.